All right, we're
Hold on.
recording now.
Hold on 1 second, Richard. It's going to be live streamed on Facebook. Okay, we're ready to go. We're live.
I'm waiting for the next slide. There it is. All right, everyone. So, what exactly is National Drug and Alcohol Facts Week, you may ask? Well, National Drug and Alcohol Facts Week is an annual health observance connecting the youth, adults, parents, and the community with resources about drugs, alcohol, and related health topics. There are a number of activities that youth, adults, parents, and communities can do instead of drinking alcohol or using drugs anytime, like exercising, gardening, meditation, reading, listening to music, taking pictures of your environment, even doodling around and drawing on paper, going outside, taking a walk. And of course, we all have friends, so talk to them. There are so many things that you could possibly do instead of using drugs and alcohol. And this week, our goal is for that prevention. Don't use the drugs from March 20 to March 26. Next slide, please. All right. This slide shows you what exactly is the national trend when it comes to drugs and alcohol. These are the latest statistics that we have. When it comes to alcohol, more than, can you believe this, 14 million US adults have an alcohol use disorder, and excessive drinking is linked to 95,000 deaths every year. And then when it comes to drugs, using among American age 12 and older, SAMHSA announced it through their national survey. The result is overwhelming in 2021. 46.3 million people aged 12 and older, or 16.5% of the US population, right, that they were having substance use disorder in the past year, including 29.5 million people who were classified as having an alcohol use disorder, and 24 million people who were classified as having a drug use disorder. I wanna go through each one really quick. If it comes to marijuana, right? Lifetime use is 45.7%. When it comes to cocaine, when it comes to their lifetime use, it is 14.2%. When it comes to one again to the other drugs like LSD, lifetime use is 10.2%, Ecstasy lifetime use among Americans aged 12 years and older, it's 7.4%. Methamphetamine 5.6%. And last, when it comes to lifetime use, heroin is 2.3%. It's very extensive how much nationally people are using alcohol and other drugs or substances. So these are all data from the National Institute on Alcohol Abuse and Alcoholism, and it's out a little bit when it comes to binge drinking. Everyone, 2 years ago, the statistic was 23.3 of people ages 18 and older were reported that they were engaged in binge drinking. So that's pretty high. And then when it comes to alcohol use again, 84% in 2021 were using alcohol. Next slide, please. How are alcohol affecting your brain? Alcohol might seem to make you happy, but it's actually a depressant. It slows down your brain function and makes you feel drowsy. And there's a lot of lack of motor coordination. This effect on your brain is are the basis of a lot of harms that happens to people like drug driving accident, lower life satisfaction, poorer mental health, poorer physical health, and more relationship problems. Look at the different organs that are affected by alcohol. It's not just the brain, it's your heart, it's your esophagus, it's your pancreas, it's your stomach, and your liver. Next slide, please. All right. Now we want to get into marijuana and cannabis and how the use of it in vaping and edibles and drinkables, right, affect your body. So here are the physical effects, and these are all according to SAPSI and also Penn Medicine. And these are the picture of somebody vaping. Vaping is very dangerous because when what you're vaping, the chemicals, it's not actually there are added stuff that goes into your body because of the vaping pen or vaping mechanism that you're using. So how does it affect your brain? Yeah, I mean physically. brain development. It affects you when it comes to your breathing problems. It increases your heart rate. And you also, if you're somebody who's pregnant, right, the child's development during and after your pregnancy because of the use of marijuana. And then short term effects. What are short term effects? According to the National Institute on Health, some of the short term effects are altered senses, changes in the mood, difficulty thinking and problem solving, impaired memory loss, memory and learning, and last but not least, hallucination and paranoia. So you can see how marijuana or cannabis vaping and using cannabis products like edibles and drinkables, how that's very harmful to a person, you know. And oftentimes everybody think it's just fun. It's funny because you're giggling and you're having fun, but no. Actually, it does have physical effects, short-term effects, and long-term effects. Next slide, please. Now I want to get into the highlight of today's Hot Topic Tuesday, which is fentanyl awareness. What is fentanyl? Fentanyl is a synthetic opioid that is approximately 50 times. Can you believe that? 50 times more potent than morphine. No, you be having synthetic opioid or fentanyl the size of a tip of a pencil, you can seriously be harmed by it or maybe even die from it. So many people are exposed to fentanyl without the knowledge, while others use it intentionally because of its potency. So in the US, the overdose deaths in the United States exceeded 100,000 in a period of 12 months for the first time 2 years ago. Right, 64% of these deaths involve synthetic opioids. So it's very dangerous, everyone, and it's affecting everyone all over the country. Now, how do you recognize the signs of an opioid? One, someone is fentanyl overdose. One, someone is not responsive. Right. After using, Number two, another way you can tell is that somebody is not breathing regularly. Okay. Third, they gonna turn, their skin color turns to gray, blue, or pale. And then another way to recognize the signs of fentanyl overdose is that their pupils get really small, right? So those are four signs of somebody who might have fentanyl overdose. So what do you do when that happens? First, you call 911 right away. This could be someone you know, a friend, a family member. Call 911 right away. Now, if you are aware and you know how to administer and you have Noxolone at home, use it right away. But you must have it and you have to know how to use it. Third, I hope everybody knows how to you administer CPR. You know, somebody cannot be bad breathing or not breathing at all, so try to administer CPR to them. And if still that person is not breathing, try to give them naloxone again. For the second time, you administer naloxone. And if they do gain consciousness, right, stay calm and show some comfort to that person. Talk to them, right? Help them out, tell them what's going on. So, those are some of the things that you can do in order to help people who are going through fentanyl overdose. Any questions or comment? I think some people are in the chat. Let me look. Okay. So we have some event information on the chat. If you want to look at it, go ahead and download it or take a screenshot. Right now, we'll take a quick break. If anybody want to ask some questions or you can go ahead and speak right now or put it on chat. I mean, not speak, put it on chat right now. All right. Next slide, please. So, Here are some facts about fentanyl, everyone. Like I said earlier, according to the Center for Disease Control and Prevention, fentanyl is a synthetic opioid that is up to 50 times stronger than heroin or 100 times stronger than morphine. Imagine having that in your body just one time if you use fentanyl. It is a major contributor to fatal and non-fatal overdoses in the US. There are two types of fentanyl. A pharmaceutical fentanyl, you can get that from the pharmacies, local pharmacies, and illicitly manufactured fentanyl. I'll go over that in a few seconds. Both are considered synthetic opioids. Pharmaceutical fentanyl, though, is prescribed by doctors to treat severe pain, especially after surgery or for advanced stage cancer. So that's legal. No, I want again to illicitly manufactured fentanyl. Illicitly manufactured fentanyl or IMF is available on the drug market in a different form, including liquid and powder. Everybody thinks fentanyl is like only a few, but no, it comes in liquid form and powder form. Powdered fentanyl looks just like many other drugs. It is commonly mixed with drugs like heroin, cocaine, methamphetamine, and made into pills that are made to resemble other prescription opioids. Fentanyl-laced drugs are extremely dangerous, everyone, and many people may be unaware that their drugs are laced with fentanyl, so they keep using it. It is in its liquid form. Illicitly manufactured fentanyl can be found in nasal spray, eye drops, and dropped onto paper or small candies. So it's hard to identify. That's why it's very important to know exactly how fentanyl, the illicit kinds, are made. Next slide, please. Are there any questions? Feel free to put it on chat if you want. All right, no question. Moving on then. So, slide before that one, please. There you go. I'm now gonna go over addiction. Addiction 101. National Drug and Alcohol Awareness Week. We have to know about addiction because people who use drugs oftentimes they get addicted to drugs. Addiction is a chronic and relapsing disorder characterized by compulsive drug seeking and use despite adverse consequences. That's why it's so hard to quit. People who get addicted keep on using it even though they know that there are adverse consequences. It is considered a brain disorder because it involves functional changes to the brain circuits dealing with rewards, stress, and self control. So you're going through addiction, but you might still feel it's okay, right? Even though you're stressing out and you're losing control, because it is connection to the reward system. So if you're feeling good using the drugs, you think everything is fine. So those changes may last a long time after a person has stopped taking drugs. Last but not least, it's hard to quit because addiction is a disease that disrupts a normal, healthy functioning of an organ in the body, right? They have serious harm effects in many cases that are preventable and treatable. If left untreated, then they can last a lifetime and might lead to death. People are addicted to drugs and they don't even know that it's harming them, right? Next slide, please. So, I would like to ask everybody, you could please, let's have a quick discussion so you can unmute yourself. When it comes to drug use and addiction among the youth, what do you see in your community and what are your thoughts about it? Please, it's an open discussion. So go ahead and unmute yourself and say something.
Hey, Richard, Steve Cagle. All right, I've been visiting a lot of schools doing presentations for them, and I think what I'm seeing a lot in the schools is the vaping right now with the marijuana. That seems to be the thing the schools are calling me a lot about. Um, my fear is now that they're putting the fentanyl in the cartridges for the marijuana. So I think that's been on the school's mind a lot. So I'm doing a lot of presentations. Seems to be like fentanyl awareness and the marijuana and the vapes. The vapes seem to be just really prominent right now. So between the nicotine, marijuana, and then the fear of the fentanyl. It seems to be what I'm seeing.
I'll also chime in as well
No,
too. Like,
you're right, Steve.
oh,
I think that's still very important to be out in the schools to talk to people because a big part of what's going on in Carson is that even though it's happening sometimes, how it's enforced, who's watching, it's not quite as much as what we want. So thank you for talking to the school. Go ahead, Nelson.
thank you, Richard. Um, it's similar to what I've also noticed. We've been doing a lot of presentations as well, talking about fentanyl, opioids, but especially vaping. Vaping and marijuana seem to be a very high usage rate among youth. Um, and it seems like their most accessible place to acquire such substance would usually be from home. I think there's like either a lot of parents that aren't doing a proper job of storing and keeping away substances from their children, or there's this, mystified idea that marijuana is possibly safer, quote unquote safe. But yeah, we've been getting a lot of requests from schools to do more presentations about vaping and marijuana, like the most. And then, of course, on the news, we keep hearing about like death from fentanyl. Like a lot of people accidental overdose fentanyl. So
Nelson, that's a great point. Because part of it, everybody, is that oftentimes a lot of the dispensaries, the smoke shop that sells all of these products are near schools. So it's obvious that somehow the youth or community members are getting access to it. Anybody else would like to share their thoughts? Please go ahead and unmute yourself and talk. Erica, would you like to share something about the event that you just put on chat?
Yes, I will. Also, I'll just share when it comes to like young people and them taking drugs. I do know like a lot of them have reported in the presentations or just in discussions with some youth that I know personally. A lot of them say like they have done it to like basically fit in and feel good, to feel better about themselves socially. And then also to do, they think they have this idea like if they do engage in some of this stuff that they might do better, whether it's physically or just in school. And then we've all been at that age where we wanted to experiment, and some of them even is just saying experimenting, which I do believe personally that is a big thing. With just in a past presentation that I just did with one of the schools whole, the assistant principal reported that she collected a kick vaping pen from one of the students, and that the parent came to pick it up, and it was kind of like, well, this is my pen, I'm so sorry that he had it. So I just brought that up to say like it starts at home. Be mindful of some of your behaviors that you might exhibit in front of your kids, for any parents that might be listening. So that was the whole gist of what I just said. Just be mindful of your own use, and making sure that, like Nelson said, that your items are put up, personal items are put up, because our youth are assessing this, getting this stuff at home, right at home, right out the medicine cabinet and whatnot. So yeah, but and I'll leave that there. But when it comes to the flyer that I put in, I'll go ahead and pass it to Flo to share the flyer.
So for our flyer, the first flyer, it's the navigation prevention like a boss. It's going to be a workshop series that we are hosting with different organizations. We're going to be basically um, sharing with the community the different drugs and how to prevent the use of it. Once you register for one workshop, you'll automatically get the other workshops, so you're able to attend all of them. So it's on Thursdays from 2 to 3:30, and if you could join, would be very nice. And thank you.
We also have a comment from Precious Molina. Richard, did you want to read that person's comment as well?
Yeah, I think Precious, please unmute yourself and talk and share with all of us what you said or your comment.
Yeah, sure. Thanks, Richard. So for me, my experience in high school, many of the students actually did vape and smoke in the bathrooms. You can smell it through the vents, and when you get like at a even like a long distance from it, you can smell it from like a classroom away. During class, even sometimes it would actually disturb those classrooms that are near it. Um, and then even in college now, I do still see my peers smoke, vape, drink sometimes, and the overall feeling I would have is concern and worry for my peers. So every time I attend these meetings, I just get more information that I can share to not just myself but other people.
All right, thank you, Precious. That's really good, everybody. I think everybody, we're having a good discussion period right now. Is there anybody else who would like to comment? Because part of National Drug and Awareness Facts Week is not just about the drugs and the information, but what we're actually see and are going through in the community. Tracy, I think Tracy has her hands raised. Go ahead, Tracy.
Yeah, hi, Richard. Yeah, I just wanted to share something that was brought to my attention at a safety collaborative meeting in Gardena, that it's younger and younger. So that kids, even in elementary school, are being exposed to these products. Actually, one of the principals at one of the elementary schools in Gardena shared that they confiscated a vape device from an elementary school student, a fourth grade student. That to me was very shocking and alarming. So the education needs to start even younger, unfortunately, that we need to get into the elementary schools and really educate the youth about the dangers and the risks of use, and that it's not just a fad, it's something that's dangerous. They need to be aware just as much as the older kids, so that they don't get sucked into that use. It's scary.
Thank you, Tracy. That was really good, just like what everybody was saying. I wanna Erica. I'm just gonna call people Erica, Farheen, Arista. I think Florina. Does anybody else would like to make a comment? I said. All right, sounds good. No, that's fair. There's always a number of things that people can do, right? Instead of using drugs and alcohol. And aside from the facts of what's going on, I think we have to also make sure that we are doing something about it in our community. So awareness is a very important thing, right? But we also have to be out in our community and doing other kinds of work, maybe policy work with your leadership, or even working with the different partners in the community and community-based organization, and doing events and activities in the family during the National Drug and Alcohol Facts Week. So it's also a call to action, everyone. Personal action to go out there and you know, take a walk and exercise, but also a community action to do events and activities in your community during the National Drug and Alcohol Facts Week. We highly encourage that, everybody. So if you can do that, please do it. Thanks again, everybody, for taking part in the discussion question. Next slide, please. All right, everybody. So we would like to make sure that you stay connected with AADAP Community Prevention. This wonderful organization that has come together in the community for how long now? 50 years maybe. But we're gonna keep going on the community, increasing awareness and doing policy work. And these are the people in the team. If you want to take a screenshot, that would be nice to do right now. And we also have Facebook accounts. You can see there's a lot here. Carson CSAP, Carson Shack Club, Gardena GDAP, Inglewood Prevention. And I think we're organizing now in city of Long Beach. So there should be a Long Beach prevention website already when it comes to Facebook. And then on Instagram, we have a ADAP Instagram. Carson shall be an advocate Instagram, and the Yuka Inglewood Instagram. Okay, everyone. That's it for today, and thank you for joining us in this very important Hot Topic Tuesday during the National Drug and Awareness Alcohol Facts Week, but also with the current trend right now when it comes to marijuana and vaping. That's what we pointed out during the discussion, and fentanyl epidemic. So thank you one more time for joining us, and everybody take care, okay? Bye.
Thank you, Richard. Great job.